Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to be talking about figurative language for our lesson, which is kind of this broad topic of language, and then we're going to shrink it down and specifically talk just about idioms. So I have this picture on the front page. It's kind of a clue as to what we're going to be talking about today if you don't quite know what idioms are. I want you guys to think about this right now, and then we can come back to it at the end and you can share what you thought this picture, what the saying was, and what it means, okay? So before we really get into our topic, I want to go over some meeting expectations, whether it be in Zoom or in the classroom. First, I want to say that you will need a blank sheet of paper and a pencil or a pen. If you need to get that, you can. As well as I want us to, for our goals, make sure that we're on time, which you all are. For the presentation, just make sure you check your surroundings so that you're not distracted and you're in an area where you can be effectively learning. Mute yourself so that if you guys have something going on in the background, totally okay. It's just easier for me to be sharing without hearing that, as well as others. Use headphones. If you don't have headphones, that's okay if you're in a quiet area, but if you need those to help you focus a little more, that's awesome. Participation, I will be asking some questions today and we will be doing a more interactive activity. So please stay focused, pay attention, and then be an active participant for questions and answers and just sharing with your peers. Lastly, chat responsibly. I know that there's a chat function on Zoom. If you have a question, you're more than welcome to use it, but just make sure that it is for academic purposes and not just messaging with your friends. That's for outside of school. So first I want to talk about figurative language as a whole. So figurative language uses figures of speech to be more effective, persuasive, and impactful. So when you are learning writing and reading, when you see those types of speech that are just more useful for the reader to visualize and make it more vivid, that's what these figurative language aspects are. So I have a picture here. The toast jumped out of the toaster. So I know that even though there's a picture here, you probably could see it in your head if you were reading a book, and it'd be really vivid, right? So if you're reading a book and it says, and the toast jumped out of the toaster, you can imagine a toast piece coming out of the toaster and flying through the air. Versus if you were reading a book and it said, and the toast stopped cooking, came out of the toaster, right? That's kind of boring. So it's usually just trying to make your reading and writing just so much more vivid and exciting for the reader. So before we go into this, I have a quick video that I want to share with you guys. We're going to watch just a tiny part of it, but I want you to be thinking about during the video, what are some words that really pop out to you? What are some sayings that you think are important? And then maybe what do you think an idiom is? What can you get from this video that you can share with us after? So think of those questions, think of those statements so that we can talk a little bit after the video.
My parents for an iPad and they said no way, it's too expensive, so I asked how much I'd have to pay. They said an arm and a leg and I was pretty bummed. That is until I learned that that was just an idiom. An idiom is a phrase that doesn't make much sense unless you heard it before and you knew what it meant. The words themselves can be used in a different way than what the person means when they use the phrase. Saying you messed up, oh, that's an idiom. Kill two birds with one stone, that's an idiom. Say you give it a shot, that's an idiom. You're in a China shop, that's an idiom.
Okay, so we're just gonna stop it right there. Does anybody have something that they want to share? Some words that you learned during this lesson or some sayings? Perfect. Okay, Ethan said, what is a bowl in a china shop? That's a really good question. So I actually thought the same thing when I was doing this lesson and I saw that. I had actually never heard it, but what if we go back and think about it using the words that they use? So when you think of a bowl, right? Is a bowl small or big? It's big, right? Okay. So do you think bowls are careful? No. Okay. So I don't think bowls are careful either. But what about when you think of China? What's China? China, yeah. So it's like nice plates and cups and glasses and bowls. So do you think a bowl in a china shop would be careful, or do you think it'd make a big mess and break things? Make a big mess and break things, right? So we can think of, what do you think they mean, right? Somebody being like really destructive, right? Perfect. Okay, so we can use that. Did anybody else think of anything that they saw? Not quite. Okay. Um, Ryan said that she thinks that an idiom is something that is a crazy kind of a saying, right? But it doesn't mean that. Okay, perfect. So let's go on. Oh, forward. So I have idioms, and we're going to share. Idioms are words or phrases which mean something different from its literal meaning. So kind of what you guys said. So something totally out there that means something different that usually we would know, right? So I'm going to say one that I think, well, actually, let's bring it back. Does anybody know, think of that picture that I shared on that first slide. Does anybody know what that is? There were dogs and cats from the sky. Okay. Anybody? Abby. Abby says, okay, raining cats and dogs. Has anybody heard raining cats and dogs before? Okay, we have a lot of hands. Perfect. So raining cats and dogs, what does that mean? Okay, we're gonna go look. So I have my idiom. It's raining cats and dogs. Can somebody share, what is its literal meaning? What does it, when you just read those words, what does it mean? Jacob. Jacob says that cats and dogs are falling from the sky. Perfect, right? Is that what somebody is meaning when they say it's raining cats and dogs? No, it's not. Okay, James. James says, what does it really mean? It's raining really hard. Perfect. So I have over here, it's figurative meaning with our figurative language. It's raining really, really hard. But if somebody listened to it and they literally meant it, it's that cats and dogs are falling from the sky. But that's not what we meant, right? Okay, so why do writers use idioms? So they want to make their work more creative, to add humor, and to connect with their readers. So writers are using these idioms so that their words pop out of the page, to make you laugh, to make you really see something more vivid. Instead of you saying, it was a rainy day, they say, it was raining cats and dogs outside. And then you think, oh my goodness, it was dumping, right? You really understand it, but in a more creative way. So I have one thing. So can you guess the meaning of the idiom? So I have one up here. Unfortunately, we don't have time for everyone to go through, but we can try and share, and then you guys will have an activity after this. So Ben felt like a fish out of water at his younger sister's birthday party. So I want you guys to think for a few seconds. It says he felt like a fish out of water. Does anybody know what that literal meaning is? So not what they're trying to say, but what's the literal meaning? Literal meaning. Lily. Perfect. So Lily says that the literal meaning was that he was a fish out of water. So a fish kind of flopping around out of the water. But is Ben really a fish? No, right? What is the figurative meaning, Ryan? Ryan says, Ben felt like a fish out of water means that he felt kind of uncomfortable, right? Does anybody else have an idea? Do they want to share? Okay, he felt like he didn't fit in. Perfect. Okay. And the meaning, he's feeling very uncomfortable. So we're going to play Idiom Pictionary. Has anybody played Pictionary before? I have some hands. Perfect. Okay, so Idiom Pictionary, I'm going to give you guys an idiom. You're going to draw it without using any words, and then we're going to take turns guessing. So I'm going to send each of you an idiom. You will have 1 minute. I know it's really fast. and then we're going to take turns and guess each person's idiom and share the literal and figurative meaning. Okay, so I know 1 minute is really fast. I have my quick example that I did in 1 minute. It's my raining cats and dogs. Yours is going to be like this. See, there's no words. It's just a picture. It does not have to be perfect. If nobody can guess it, you can share it afterwards, and that is okay. I know how fast it is. We're also not going to be able to get to every person, unfortunately, but we will get to who we can share. And you guys are welcome to share it on another platform with me afterwards as well. So I will give you 1 minute, and I will send you out some things. Some some idioms. I will be messaging you your idioms. Okay, perfect. I see Ethan, do you want to share your picture? Perfect. So why don't you share yours up to the camera? Okay, you guys can have a second to look at Ethan's. Okay, so what are you guys seeing? Who wants to share? Abby, what do you see? You see feet. Okay, you see feet. What else? There's a person. Okay, there's a person. What is the person doing? Are they, what do we think, Ryan? They're cold, a cold person. And I see an arrow there. It's pointing to something. It's pointing to something. James, what is it pointing to? His feet, right? So does anybody have a guess? Does anybody have a guess? Lily. Cold feet. Cold feet. Perfect. Cold feet. So Ethan, do you want to share with us what the literal meaning is? Right. So the literal meaning is that his feet are literally, or hers feet are literally cold, ice cold. But is that what the person really means? No, right? What do you think that they mean? They're nervous, right? The person's nervous. So when they say, I have cold feet, it's because your feet kind of would jump around and not really comfortable, right? Are you really comfortable when you're nervous? No. So if you have cold feet, you're kind of nervous. Perfect. So for the sake of our time today in our lesson, we are not going to be able to go through everybody's, but thank you all for doing those. If you want to on Google Classroom, you're welcome to share them on a link that I can put up, and you guys can go through there and guess each other's pictures if you feel like that's something that you want to share. If not, that's totally okay. So before we go, what's some new information that you learned? What are some things that you felt like you got from this quick little lesson that we did today? What's some quick things? Okay, Lily says that it can help your writing and make it more colorful. Perfect. So yeah, when you're writing, it can make it seem more vivid to your reader, and it makes it a little bit more exciting for them. What else did we learn? Ryan. Okay, yeah, perfect. So Ryan says that, excuse me, an idiom is a saying that means something different than what it literally means, like what we were talking about. So it's raining cats and dogs. It literally would mean that cats and dogs are falling from the sky, but it doesn't mean that figuratively, right? Because we're talking about figurative language. So figuratively, it means it's raining really hard. So idioms mean something different than what you would literally think the saying means. Perfect. Anybody else? James. James says it creates this visual image when you're doing your reading or writing for somebody else so that they can really see, right, what you are trying to convey. Awesome. So can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down or sideways? How are you guys feeling about this? Okay, we got a lot of thumbs up. If you're feeling a little bit iffy, then I'm more than happy to do another lesson on this, or you guys are welcome to share questions that you have with me on Google Classroom. But thank you so much for listening, and awesome job, you guys. Bye.